Welcome back to Thrive Like a Parent podcast. Today, I am beyond excited to sit down with someone I deeply admire, Dr. Bradley Campbell. Dr. Bradley Campbell is a holistic physician, chiropractor, acupuncturist, and functional medicine practitioner. And he is known for helping people get to the root cause of their health changes. He has built an incredible following online by breaking down complex health topics in a way that's approachable, practical, and deeply empowering. In this conversation, we're going to explore his journey, his philosophy on true health, and the way stress, trauma, and the nervous system tie into physical well being. We'll also dive into what he believes are the most overlooked keys to healing and what simple steps you can take right now to start shifting your own health. So I cannot wait for you to hear his wisdom. So let's jump right in. Well, Dr. Campbell, thank you so much for being here today. Before we get going on all the burning questions that I'm like dying to ask you, and I'm so excited to pick your brain, I would love for you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you're all about from your lens rather than from mine.
My lens?
Yes.
I'm a holistic doctor, went to different natural medical schools and trained in chiropractic, naturopathic, acupuncture, herbalism, a couple nutrition degrees, neurology, homeopathy, functional medicine, internal
Just a
medicine.
couple.
Just a couple. Run a clinic just north of Chicago, Illinois. Got a 4-month-old child right now. I'm happily newly married and life, 2 dogs, and been teaching on social media since 2020 when we started a nonprofit. And because of the pandemic, couldn't meet in person. So we started teaching online to help people. And then we had a patient with lab work that came back abnormal after their COVID shot. And we started teaching on the pros and cons of that, trying to be a middle ground of reason and just presenting the facts. And that took our account off. Like, it went viral from a few videos. So then we got deleted for kind of waving a yellow flag before everyone knew there was anything to worry about. And then we grew back bigger, got deleted, grew back bigger, got censored for 2 years, and just kept teaching and educating as best as we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that story too, because I do think that that is a testament to how valuable your information is, how much individuals want to hear your information. Um, I was just sharing with you before we started this that in a sea of funk, and there's so much misinformation, and there's so many contradicting things that are going on in terms of health and what is and what isn't good to put in your body and what we should and shouldn't do. And you really dive deep into like, okay, well, let's talk about this. Like, let's talk about the pros and cons, and let's decide this is best for and why or why not, or what are the contraindications and how do we do these things. So don't follow Dr. Campbell's page. I highly recommend you do. I've been following you for years. I would love for you to share a little bit about like what led you to functional medicine, and integrated medicine and health, and what led you to that in the first place, like way back when, like what led you to it?
So it's really kind of the wounded healer archetype.
Yeah.
People use their suffering to help others.
Yeah.
My family had a lot of health issues. I personally had a major health challenge we'll talk about in a second. But I ended up having a miraculous healing myself, and my family and others I'd seen get these really wild miracles that modern medicine often said wasn't possible or didn't make sense. And so I really started off with these miracles that I was witnessing, and then wanted to know what was placebo, what was science, what was just nervous system regulation, what did all that mean? And so I got into a lot of functional medicine, integrative labs, and blood work, all that to try to make sense of what was really going on. But it all started when I was 9 years old in 4th grade. I was running around in class, and I was in gymnastics at the time, and me and my friends were doing flips off of desks. And I did a front flip off of a desk, like running, did a front flip off of a desk, but slipped because someone had spilled their water on the desk. And I hit the corner of my head on the corner of a really sharp, hard wooden desk and blacked out. Ended up in the nurse's office, then the hospital, basically had a terrible concussion, lost half of my IQ, most of my short-term memory, went from a grade ahead to a grade behind in school. I was like Dory from the movie Finding Nemo. So I'd walk
Yeah.
upstairs and be like, "Where am I? Why did I go up here?"
Wow.
And I got bullied for it. It was just terrible. I went to 20 some different doctors and specialists, the best neurologists, and had CAT scans, MRIs, EEGs, sleep studies, multiple psych evals, and all this testing, which is partially why I knew that things went from great to terrible.
Mhm.
And for 9 months, I was in this super bad fog, didn't know who I was. I didn't feel like the same person. And that's kind of a lot for a kid who's 9 years old at the time to really understand.
Mhm.
But luckily, my parents had a friend of a friend who referred us to their chiropractor who doesn't do any forceful, high velocity, kind of the cracking chiropractic, but does
Yep.
soft touch, does some muscle testing, applied kinesiology, and does cranial adjusting. He
Yeah.
was the first person in 9 months who actually just touched my head, and I had a dent in my head the size of a golf ball, which was crazy. He had me and my mom feel it. I actually have the CT scans from when I was 9, and you can see the dent in my head because the skull doesn't fully fuse until you're 18 to 20.
Mhm.
So I had a dent that was pushing on part of my brain, the memory centers, the parietal lobe, and he did cranial work, basically took the dent out of my skull. And within 1 hour, I was totally back to normal, like someone had turned the lights back on.
That is the wildest story.
It was
Within an
crazy.
hour.
Within an hour, it was just an hour treatment. He stayed over his lunch break to work on me. Left an hour later. I was smiling, laughing for the first time in 9 months. It was insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So for you, that was the turning point of, I'm guessing, understanding there's more than meets the eye in the medical field and all the things.
Yep, that was the start of just a little bit of, maybe the modern medical system doesn't know everything. Like, my mom was a
Maybe.
nurse, my dad's a dentist. They had amazing stories and they helped save lives and they still do on a regular basis. But I was like, maybe there's, a window of chronic illness or unexplained mystery diagnoses that modern medicine isn't so well equipped to handle.
So I have to ask, once you had that hour with this work on your skull and all the things, did you ever need more treatment, or from that point on you felt like you were on your way?
I was probably 90% better, and then I saw him twice in the next month. And it was just a little fine tuning here and there. 3 times total, was totally on my way. I did get re-injured a few times by being a kid, doing what kids do. I think I went
Oh.
on a band trip to Disney World and went on Space Mountain 12 times in a row and gave myself whiplash, and I had to get readjusted. But aside from a few little injuries here and there, I was pretty much back to normal.
Okay, so now I want to shift a little. This is a very broad question, but I feel like you can handle it. I would love to know, what do you define as true health?
True health to me is being in alignment with your authentic self in your mind, body, and spirit,
Yeah.
as I guess, as well as being in alignment with your external nature. So I think your authentic self is your internal nature, but you also have to be in alignment with your external nature.
Yeah. What would you say, or where do you feel like society gets it wrong within that idea of true health?
Uh,
I know this could probably be like a whole podcast in
It
itself,
could be a whole
right?
podcast. Well, in some ways, we've had it wrong for a long time. I think our psychology or neurobiology, whatever you want to call it, is probably primed to be more in smaller communities and tribal type living, not
Yes,
on not in social media, not in New York City, downtown Chicago, not in
totally.
I think we're meant to be in smaller communities, and we're probably not meant to be in fully heated, air conditioned indoor units with fake fluorescent LED lights. Luckily, incandescent lights were banned and now they're going to be legal again, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But I think we living in fake light, fake temperature, bad indoor air quality. We're just so distanced that it used to be you used to have to use technology or TV to escape nature to kind of take a break. And now you're taking a break. You're actually, in order to disconnect, it's going into nature to kind of disconnect from the fake world.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think that humans realize that your brain is very similar to a computer in a sense of, it's always coding and it's constantly patterning and it's constantly shifting based on the patterning that you provide it, right? You give it. So I don't work with these lights on. I have windows and I work with natural light and no, like I do as much natural light as I can. But I also know that this is a lot of stimuli for me, so I don't do it that often. But the majority of society doesn't understand how certain things are affecting their brain and the patterning of their brain, right? If they feel the most satiated, regulated wise, scrolling their phone, and that's how they're zoning out, they don't recognize that they're probably already heightened, right? And they can't do a lot of executive functioning because that is what they've patterned to feel safe and stable and feel that control over their life, right? And it feels like they're coming down, but they're not because they're just scrolling, right?
But what do you say to them when they say, "Well, but I feel fine?"
They don't ever tell me I feel fine.
Okay,
They
right.
don't. I mean, they're like, I'm scrolling my phone and I'm snapping at my kids and I have really bad brain fog, or I don't want to be touched with a 10-foot pole, like in a dark room, like, and intimacy in general, like that's a big part of a relationship, right? So if you don't want to
Yeah,
be touched, you're snapping at your kids, you're scrolling on your phone, you're zoning out, your neck is crooked and down. Like, I mean, one of my next questions to you is going to be, let's talk about root cause, but like I've just given you a bunch of root causes, like
totally.
that in itself is a struggle in my opinion of why we're at where we're at in the world. I am going to give you, before I ask you the root cause question, I'm going to give you a little background into to me. I was diagnosed 2, maybe 3 years ago. I don't even remember the date at this point. With Hashimoto's, and it was very low numbers, like 14, like that. It was really low. And that is after practicing what I preach for many years. And that was also after my husband taking his own life and like all the things that I had to move through grief and all the things. But I was like, no, like I did it. Like I took care of myself. Yes, I definitely went through grief and trauma, but I
Mhm.
like tried as hard as I could to practice what I preach. And so when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I went on this root cause journey. And we went into candida and we went into parasites and we went into liver cleanses and detoxes and natural products and what to eat and not to eat and this, and like all of a sudden I was trying extremely hard to gather as much information as I could on the holistic integrative medicine lens of I don't want to take synthetic thyroid. Like that's not what I want to do. I'm on low dose naltrexone and I still have a lot of struggle with conflicting individuals who I talk to doctors wise that I basically interview to be like, I might want to work with you. But what, in your opinion, or what would you say about root cause and how that affects our life? And if you could get into, yes, I've shared with you my gamut and you understand what I'm saying, but I think for anyone listening, like what does root cause mean and how to even go about figuring that out a little bit, if you will?
So I think it froze for a second.
I see you. You're still there.
Okay, so what is root cause and how do you even go about figuring it out?
Yeah. How do you even go about understanding root cause or where to start with, like, I'm not well, but I
Yeah.
don't even know, right? Like, I would say the majority of individuals have never stepped into the world of figuring out root cause or integrated medicine or holistic health. Like, where do they even start to figure out, okay, these are my symptoms. What do I do?
Yeah, it's hard. We have a online membership thing, kind of similar to yours, probably, but it has a root cause test that kind of organizes the symptoms into systems of the body.
That's,
So that
I don't have
helps.
that. So that's awesome for everyone to know. I mean, that's
It
fantastic.
helps. Yeah, so that helps them learn, like where dry eyes and cracked heels and veins over, the
Cool.
torso could be coming from. So that says like, oh, this could be a liver-based pattern, or this could be a B vitamin deficiency, this could be essential fatty acid deficiency.
Mhm.
So it helps people start to categorize a little bit. We're working on writing a book that kind of combines this new course I have that helps people clear the fog, and it'll have the root cause test in there because it's really about, I guess, two things. One is evaluating your life holistically in a
Yeah.
structural, chemical, emotional, or mind, body, spirit type of way, and
Yeah.
saying, what are three things that I'm doing really well in my
Mhm.
life for my health? And what are three things that I'm really not doing well? And that could be some of your root causes. Like, well, I'm not sleeping. I'm having 7 cups of coffee and then some Celsius and Red Bull to get by,
Yeah.
and maybe I hate my job and I'm working on switching that. So, like, you could
Mhm.
have three big life factors or
Mhm.
more that kind of are root causes, but there really is never one root cause. There's
Right.
often a number of them that kind of create this overall fog. Some people call it the bucket theory, but it's basically where like you can't even tell what's going on because things are so foggy. It's hard to clearly see what the diagnosis is or what's going on when there's so many
Yeah.
different things. You're throwing in bad food, you're drinking too much, or having too much different substances or caffeine, you're not sleeping well, you don't like your job, or could be a number of things. You're vitamin
Right.
deficient. So one is kind of clearing the fog to help people see clearly what's going on. So
Mhm.
evaluating your whole life, and people can do that simple exercise for themselves for their structural, chemical, and emotional health. Like, what are three good things I'm doing for my physical body and structure, and three things I could work on for my biochemistry and nutrition and all of hormone health, like all of the biochemical stuff. And what are three things good and bad for my emotional health that I can
Yeah.
work on, or three little pats in the back to give me? And so one is kind of clearing the fog. The other is almost a childlike curiosity, which you might not be able to answer because children often need an elder or a parent or a teacher to teach them. Doctor originally means docere, which is to teach. So you have to
Mhm.
find a guide or a teacher or an influencer or someone you trust to sort of
Yeah.
say, hey, maybe they have Q&As you can ask, or maybe they have some story highlights or YouTube videos you can learn from. There's tons of free content out there. And just the more you can educate yourself on the root causes of some symptom or some condition, then you can start to see, okay, there might be five causes, main causes of insomnia. Let me go figure out what those could be. Is it my sleep hygiene? Is it my progesterone deficiency? Is it my cortisol and circadian rhythms and light exposure? Is it not getting exercise? Is it my blood sugar regulation? And so then you can start to learn about those potential things. The childlike curiosity of just asking why. You know, when kids do that really annoying thing where they ask why a million times, they're like, well, why is the sky blue? Well,
Yep.
because of the way the light interacts with the environment and the ozone layer. And they're like, well, what is light?
Yeah.
Why does light do that? Why does light have different colors? And you're like, well, why does light even exist? Where does light come from? And you just keep asking why. So like, well, why do you have insomnia? Well, maybe you ask, well, why did this start in the first place? Well, this started back when I had some major stress that happened or major loss or grief. Well, it's like, why were you not able to process that stress or loss or grief? Why do you think, what got in the way of you processing that? Or why haven't you been able to process it? Or, and then you're like, well, maybe because I'm too busy. Well, why are you too busy?
Yeah.
Well, why haven't you fixed that? So you just keep asking why to go down the rabbit hole. And that really will get you to oftentimes the root cause for you.
What if you can't what if you can't change? Like, okay, so I'll
Right.
I'll use me again as an example. Like, I understand, right, that I'm like kind of sort of dying to ask you if you think that my Hashimoto's could have been triggered by the COVID vaccine, but I only took two. I only did two shots, so I'm very curious about that. Just on your answer, but like, I'm widowed. I live alone. I have two children. I run a business. I love my business, right? So like, I can only decrease my stress load, if you
Yeah.
will, so much, right? But I also know that my Hashimoto's and all adrenal and like all of these are based on your adrenal glands and over functioning and all the things, right? So like, I can only do as much as I can do.
Right. It's like, what do you do? I guess it's one is you can change your perception of stress from distress to eustress. So you
Yeah,
saying, I love my career, I love my children, that'd be different if you're saying like I hate my job. I
totally.
wish I wish I only had one kid or one and a half, like
One
you
and a
can't
half would
just
be just kidding.
you don't want to just give up one of the kid you don't like for adoption.
Yeah,
But
totally.
sometimes it is that. Sometimes I have
Every now and then,
conversations.
we all think that a
Right,
little bit, just a little.
right,
Like in the middle of the night when you're not sleeping, you're like, "Oh, I miss the days of sleeping."
right. And I think like sometimes you have those conversations with your clients or patients and you say, this isn't working for you. Let's change this. But if it's
Yeah,
a choice you've made that you can't change or you don't want to change at this point, then you either need some crutches or some support or some
yeah,
extra nutritional support or adaptogens, or you need mindfulness tactics or stress reduction breaks. Like our 4-month-old is going through a little sleep regression right now. So how do you combat that? Well, even 5-10 minutes of just closing your eyes, doing some 4-7-8 breathing or box breathing
yeah,
or whatever it could be, some little mini breaks can be huge. It doesn't take a lot to start to balance the nervous system. As
yeah.
you know, there's many little tips and tricks to help.
Yep.
People think you often need to change everything, but sometimes it's just a few little tweaks that'll help people because the body is innately intelligent. It's always trying to heal. Just give it a little nugget on the right path. It'll start healing.
And do you have like a top I hate when people ask me this, but I do have a top 3. Do you have like a top 3 that you're like, if you're gonna start somewhere, do this?
I usually say top three would be nervous system regulation is number one for everything. I say nervous system is king.
I love that you said that. That's
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
always my membership. I say it all the time, but nervous
I
system
mean,
is
I say
king.
that too, but, you know.
The nerves control everything in your body. So if your brain,
Right.
if your spinal cord, if your nerves aren't right, it's not going to go well. So nervous system is king. Regulating that. For me, I use NET. Will refer people to other nervous system regulation practitioners. Neuro emotional technique. They have a free documentary on YouTube called Stressed. It's something that
Cool.
practitioners do to help people shift. Basically, it helps the subconscious not be triggered by old stress. Is what happens,
Wow.
which is great. Similar like EMDR, but not for acute trauma or big PTSD, more for subtle stressors.
Yeah.
So that can be a game changer for people to go from distress to eustress. I use the two analogies. One is sort of if you have a person who, let's say, you hold a gun up to their head and you say, you have to walk for 25 miles, like march and don't stop until your feet are bleeding. They'd probably be one of the worst days of their life, right? It'd be super traumatic. They'd be
Yeah.
scared that you're going to shoot them. But if you were to walk up to someone and say, hey, give me $500, and if you're lucky, you can walk or run for 25 miles, and we'll call it the Chicago Marathon. Like that would be the
Yeah.
best day of their life. So the same physical stress interpreted as positive or negative could be the best or worst day of your life.
Mhm.
Kind of like if you wanted to have kids and you've been trying for decades and you had kids, that would be a beautiful opportunity for you to grow your family. Versus if you accidentally had, three oopsies, which happened to one of my patients years ago. They had three kids within
Right.
a year with three different baby daddies. That would be something that's really hard to deal with.
Yes.
Being a single parent of three newborns, not
Yeah.
triplets, in the same year, that's a really tough situation. And sometimes you can change those, sometimes you can't, but how you perceive something can vary a lot. It's also like a story of, let's say you have a holistic doctor, Sherlock Holmes, and a child walk into McDonald's. Sounds like a bad
Mhm.
joke.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes might look around and go, "Oh my gosh, do you see the health inspector would probably report them for the rat over in the corner, and there's mold up in the corner over there, and I can tell this cashier register person hasn't been sleeping because their pupils are dilated." The holistic doctor might be analyzing all the nutrient content of how horrible all the McDonald's food is, and the kid might be the best day of their life because they're like, "Oh, I can smell the fries and the burgers, and cheese, and all the toxic food that's going to stimulate my brain. I'm going to go play in that play castle over there." And so
Mhm.
it's like the same experience for three different people. One could be horrified by the holistic doctor. Sherlock Holmes could think it's like a fun, imaginative game, and the child could be the best day of their whole month. So
Mhm.
I think the same experience we can interpret different ways. It also tells you a lot about the person who what they say. It's kind of like when people comment, you make a post and some people comment really positive things, some people negative. It tells you more
Yes.
about them
Yes.
than what it's saying about you.
Yes, 1,000%. It does take some time for anyone who's in that world. It takes time to recognize that. I think the first few times you're like, "Ooh," but then you're like, "This has nothing to do with me." Like, right? And then you get over it. I love those answers. I would say my first top 2 are always water and sleep, 1,000%. Like, that's the go-to is, getting enough sleep and resetting your brain and rest. Like, I don't think that individuals recognize the value of that as much as you actually need it. And that, again, comes in turn with sometimes scrolling your phone till 2 o'clock in the morning and you're like, oh my God, it's 2 o'clock. And I didn't realize it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't ever think any of us drink enough water, but
Yeah,
you know,
that's basically mine too. The
yeah.
nervous system is number one, but it's like for me, the two main things that people are doing that mess with that is sleep/rest and drugs. A lot of people are using drugs as a crutch because it's a very useful, fairly cheap crutch, whether it's caffeine or alcohol, marijuana, tobacco,
Yes.
nicotine. No, it's
Yes.
a very useful thing.
Yes.
And so for me, it's getting people sober because that helps them align with themselves. And then their intuitive sense starts kicking in more. They know what to do to regulate their nervous system. But they often need a little support if they're doing that. So it's helping get them off drugs, get them sleeping, and then educating them on how to balance their nervous system and stress a bit better.
The craziest thing is that I find that individuals who are using or abusing substances, whichever one they are using that as their regulator. And they don't even
Right.
recognize that probably, right? Like the root cause or the core of what's going on within that is that you don't know how to function without that quote regulator. And so I would say that it's a crutch. It's a much easier fix to just feel better rather than being like, "Oh, wow, wait, you mean I actually have to like do some repatterning and like work on my brain and actually like rest and actually," right? Like, it's not, I mean, regulating your nervous system is not magic. It doesn't happen overnight. I was literally just talking to someone right before you and I hopped on, and she was like, "I've read the books. Like, I've read the books, but I don't know why it's not working." And I said the implementation, excuse me, is completely different than understanding your sensory system, right? That's the first thing. You have to understand your sensory system. You have to understand if you crave and seek, all these different stimuli, or if you avoid. If you're a seeker, you may go towards wanting to drink and feel higher and like all the things, right? If you're an avoider, you may use those things as a crutch to then be able to push yourself to go, not be an introvert and more of an extrovert. There's just so many different reasons, but getting to the root of being able to understand how you tick and how you function will allow you to then, I mean, for me, I think that the nervous system is the core of mental health rather than psychology. It's more the neurology.
Totally, totally. I mean, it's really that's if I had one magic pill I could give people, it would be more self-awareness,
Oh.
which is really like what you said. What I talk about in my book, awareness is the first step to healing anything, but it's
Mhm.
how could you get people to realize why am I using this substance as a crutch or
Yeah.
how is it serving me rather than just saying, well, Dr. Brooke or Dr. Brad said it's not so good, so I'm just going to stop this thing. And then they crash and they have no tools to regulate like, well, how is that serving you? And what else do you need to support yourself so you don't just stop your vices or stop your escapism or stop your coping strategies and now you've got nothing to go on?
I would love to know how you personally balance partnership, now being a new dad, being active on your social media, having a community, having a clinic, seeing clients, supporting clients. There is care and concern, right? When we have our clients, we do our best to not compartmentalize because we don't care, but be able to, right, compartmentalize different aspects of our life. But how do you make it all work for you?
I've tried a number of things, but
Yeah.
for me, chunking it helps a lot. So, especially with having a kid, you think you're busy and then you have children. And you're like, now I'm extra busy.
Yeah.
There's a lot less free time. So, it's really scrolling less on my phone. I've gone from when I was growing my Instagram a few years ago, I was spending 9 to 16 hours a day before I was dating somebody, just replying to everybody, replying to every comment. And then as I had a relationship, I'm like, okay, I have to do what Joe Rogan says, which is post and coast. So I'll look at the comments maybe a day later, but I don't have time to sit there for a half hour after every post and just
Mhm.
reply. And you get thousands of comments on a good day sometimes, and you just can't even read them all. And Instagram starts glitching, and that's not great. So I think it's fun chunking things. So work time is work time. I've had to put better boundaries up as well with that, which is kind of like chunking to say, hey, patients, I can't reply Monday through Friday now. Like these are my patient days, or if it's emergency, call 911, or if it's a really something that I have to handle, I'll give them my cell phone, but say only in these instances, and just put really good boundaries up with that. And then I'll set aside a couple hours every day on my schedule. This is social media time. These 2 days a week are patient days, or these 3 days a week are patient days. And then family days, Saturday or Sunday, we literally put on the schedule. I'm like, I've told my wife that she didn't quite understand because she wasn't as busy with her job and managing 2 or 3 businesses at once. I'm like, if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. So we just schedule it. It's going to happen, and then you make sure you abide to it. It's kind of like making a promise to yourself. If you put it on your schedule and you're not doing it, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to feel worse that you didn't do what you said you were going to do. It's like lying to yourself. So really use the times that you schedule for what you say you're going to do, or just don't even put it on there. And then
Totally.
be super present in what you're doing. So it's when I'm with patients, extremely present. When you're podcasting, try to be very present. When it's workout time, you work out hard, super present. And it's really optimizing your schedule and chunking things with better boundaries that has helped me do it.
Yeah, I would say I'm similar. Things are still not that they fall through the cracks, but right, it's like the incidentals. It's the making sure to get back to a friend who text messaged you or checking the emails that, for me, my kids are school age, so like checking the school teacher's email, things like that. Or
Oh, yeah.
when
Yeah, I
they have
saw you
things
saying late at night, you're like, "Sorry, I can't do this because it's like 9:30 at night, and I have all these emails of school updates I don't really care about. What are you gonna
right.
do?"
Yes. Yeah. But it is chunking it and knowing that you're very present and this is what you're doing right now, but also putting in serious boundaries of like, I work from 10:30 to 3 and that's it. My children are walking in the door at 3:10, so I have like a 10-minute buffer and I'm mom. Like I'm mom. Now, I may be in the car answering, back and forth with my team if they need something, but I'm very present and I'm in go mode with that. And I also like you said, I schedule in my workouts. Like my workout is part of my daily routine, right? Like I don't start working till 10:30 because I work out before that. And if I didn't build my work schedule like that, I wouldn't move my body. I'd just sit in the chair all day. And so it's a way for me to be able to, like you're saying, if it's on the calendar, you're going to do it. But I mean, it's hard to navigate and manage all the
It's hard.
things.
I
Really
know.
hard to manage.
It's definitely hard, and still having time for some fun things too. I think
Totally.
you can make your life fun, but then there's always gonna be things that get in the way too. Kids get sick, you gotta flex and change things and figure out what your priorities are. I do think that some people have way too much time and are doing a lot of time wasters.
You're right.
So maybe the non-crazy people like us who
Yeah.
are trying to do a million things, the people who are less type A or just more chill and grounded, they might be able to, now that we're not grounded, but in a different way. People
We have
who
to
have
make time for the
less.
groundedness,
Right, you have
right?
to make time for the
Yeah.
groundedness. But I think there's people who it's fine to, not have anything scheduled, but I'm like, "Wow, that would be interesting." My wife and I go back and forth. She's someone who likes to have a fully open Saturday or
Yeah.
Sunday, and then we turns into what it is. I'm more of like, I wanna have 30 things scheduled, that's super fun for me. We mix up what we do, but I do think what was I trying to say? A level of time wasters that get in people's way. A lot of it's screen time or Netflixing. And if you're using that with intention to relax or to decompress, that's great. But it's really not as healing as the million other things that you teach people how to do to ground their nervous system. Well, a lot of times there's a law that people don't know called Parkinson's law. Doesn't relate to Parkinson's disease, but Parkinson's law is if you only have a certain amount of time, the tasks you have will fit into that time. So if you had to take a meeting in 15 minutes, or I think I saw in your stories, if you have a meeting and you got to do it while your kid's getting his teeth cleaned and you're holding his hand,
Oh,
it's like,
yes.
then that's your meeting time. You fit it into the time, you get it done in the time you have. But if you had a more open schedule, you were doing less and you had 2 hours, you could probably spend an hour or two on that meeting. So I think scheduling in a way, if you shorten the time you give yourself for different meetings and different activities, sometimes you just have to get it done in a short amount of time, which helps. The other thing is we'll have people do an Eisenhower matrix,
Huh.
which is a 4 quadrant on a sheet of paper where you cut it into 4 sections and you put urgent and important in the upper left. In the bottom right, you put not urgent, not important. And the other two are urgent, not important, and not urgent and important. Urgent means it happens today. Important means you or I have to do it. If it's not important, it means you can delegate it. And if it's not urgent or not important, it means it doesn't happen today and it's not that important. I don't have to do it. Those are usually your time wasters. So all of your to-do lists for people who are thinking at night of all the things they have to do and can't go to sleep, a lot of times to just get it out of their brain, they can put down for that day in the morning or at night, they can do it. Put down all the things tomorrow that they have to get done before bed that are urgent. And if they're important, I do them. If they're not important, someone else does it. If it's not urgent, then you can assign a time in that later that week or that month or that year of when you're going to do it. But it kind of helps people empty their mind and their to-do list and can help them start to prioritize even the urgent and important things. You might have 20 things on that list if you're running your own business, but maybe the first three are like, these are the most urgent and important. And the other ones I really want to get done, but if they don't, it's not life or death. Because we always, I think I've heard you say this, we say, I need to do this, I have to do this, I should do this. And people are shitting on themselves all day, like, oh, I should get all these things done on my to-do list. If I don't, then I'm guilty. I
Right.
don't feel safe. I don't feel good about myself. And so rather than shitting on yourself, if you say, I'd like to do this, I want to do this is my priority, it
Mhm.
sort of de-escalates the stress of all of the chores that they feel they
I
must
1,000%
do.
like that. Yeah. Agreed, agreed, agreed. Or you can just accept that the to-do list is never gonna end, so then you just, like, wave the white flag and you're like, "There will always be a to-do list, so I get done what I get
There
done."
will be.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Okay,
Totally.
can I do a rapid fire with you? You can say yes or no, like, if
Okay.
you like or dislike, or if, like, people should eat it or do it or this it or that it, and
Yeah.
if you need an explanation, you're totally welcome. Like, it doesn't have to be a yes or no. Like, if you're like, "I need to
Okay.
give a little more explanation to that." Okay. Tallow, cook with tallow, tallow on the face, yes or no? Where are we at with that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Do we like tallow more than olive oil, seed oil?
For food, no.
Okay. So we still like seed oil?
Not seed oil, but olive oil is a yes.
Love. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I like this. Eggs,
Yes.
celery juice, like on a regular basis.
No. Only
Cool.
because you said regular basis.
You know the people who like do it every
Yep.
day, like
All the
the
time.
celery
Yep.
juice. Yeah. And I
Just say no.
really, can I
Yep.
ask your explanation?
It's good short term for a season, but it's too young and stimulatory. So a lot of people start getting dry lips or dry skin. So it's too heating for many people.
You know, I've tried it like in an IV. It's very hard on my system. Like I've done it where they've dripped it very, very slow. And then I've done it where they've given me a shot and 10 minutes, I'm like not doing so hot and then it goes away. But I don't
Yeah.
really feel the effects. Like I don't,
Yeah, that's how a lot of people feel. Some people feel more energized from it, but my sensitive patients teach me the most. Kind of like probably someone like you where they get it and they have a reaction. To me, that
ugh,
means that it probably has those properties in everybody, but they're just not aware of it.
sure. Okay.
Kind of like
Cool.
Advil or an NSAID that makes your stomach bleed a little bit. It's like it's probably happening to everybody. They're just able to handle it or they're not noticing it.
Cool. Okay. I think you talked about this on your page, hydration packets for water.
No,
Just like in general, no, don't do it.
just in general,
Love
no.
it. Aura rings.
Yes, if the Bluetooth is off.
That's what okay, that makes me feel good. That's what I do.
Yeah,
And I
nice.
only wear it at night because I don't really care about all the things in between. Yes,
Right.
some of the stuff is great to know, but I'm just more curious about my sleep. That's all I
Yeah,
really want to know.
totally. Same.
And all those foods.
Yes.
Yes, so we like them.
I like them for most everybody.
I agree with that. That I kind of threw out the window. What would you say is the best nutritional diet? Is it vegan? Is it heavy in the meat and like the carnivore diet? Like, do you recommend one or the other or prefer one or the other?
I'd say all the best diets are anti-inflammatory,
Yeah,
but if I had one rule, I would say no labels. Just get stuff that doesn't have a label or an ingredient. It's basically real single foods and combine them yourself.
totally. Yep. Stick to all the fresh stuff that can die. Don't
Yes,
go down the aisles.
correct. Outside of
Love
the
that.
grocery store.
Okay. Can you tell everyone before you tell everyone where they can find you and your website and all that stuff, what types of clients do you see and do you see clients virtually?
I do see clients virtually. Now we'll allow the members we have to book consults. It's kind of like
Okay.
an online concierge
Cool.
practice, but the in-person practice has been closed for a few years.
That's great. That
Yeah.
saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, will you tell everyone where they can find your website and your membership? We will put all this in the notes too, but please let everyone know how they can find you.
Yeah. It's all everything's on drbradleycampbell.com. Campbell Campbell like the soup, but drbradleycampbell.com, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube are all at or handle Dr. Bradley Campbell.
Oh, wait, I have one more. I have one more. One more. Why can't I think of it? I'm having brain fog right now, if you can't tell.
Doing great.
Ozempic, yes or no?
Other GLPs? No.
Yelpy, that's what I was trying to say. That's a no?
That's a no.
Okay, that's what I thought you had said. Okay, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, XOXO, Dr. B.